here again with our 1J. Last video, we did all the fun stuff. Turbo, pulleys, valve covers, intake plenum, you name it, all the big stuff went on, transformed it from long block to engine at that point. But today, we're gonna do the fuel system. We're gonna go through the rail, the injectors, the lines, the AN fittings, all the little good details of the fuel system. Took it upon myself to just take the plenum back off. It's gonna be a lot easier to showcase doing this without that in the way, and it's not hard to put back on. Let's dive right into what we have. We have Radium's rail, love it. This is my third Radium rail I'm using on the car. I don't know, they work. They do the job. So we kind of did little things, our AN fittings, we did our block offs for the ports we don't need, but we didn't want to do too much without showing you guys. So we have our rail, we have our injectors, which are gonna be bad, but I gotta look at what company it is. Yeah, Fuel Injector Development, 1000cc injectors, top feed. We're gonna be getting these into the rail, into the plenum. We have our lines, all our AN fittings. Our return line's gonna be just regular fuel line. This is actually a kit from Drift Motion that Aaron sells on the site. It's for Supra, I wanna say. It should bolt up to this. We're gonna confirm if it bolts up because we don't know. And of course, it comes with an Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. We kind of started mapping out our fittings beforehand, so we had an idea of what we're doing. So we'll get into how all this is supposed to be set up and fits. Have our fuel pressure gauge, of course. That's pretty much it. The only thing that is not laid out here is our fuel pump, which goes in the tank. It's an in-tank pump, nothing crazy. So we'll probably just do that off camera at a later time. I say we just dive in. Let's start bolting things together because we have goals for this video that we want to accomplish. So let's bang this out. We got a little extra time today. We're starting early. We got like 5 hours. So that's more time than me and Louie usually have. Let's make it worth it and start putting shit together. Lube. Everything goes better with lube. Oh, you're recording now, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, good. So all these nice rubber seals that come on your injectors and for your seats and everything. It's very easy to just want to plop them in and be done, right? But don't forget to just lube it a little bit. You don't need a lot, just enough so that you don't put a small tear into your seal. Because if you do that, you're gonna have a bad time when you start your car for the first time and it's spraying fuel over all your brand new parts that you just put in. So use something to lube it up. We're gonna use a little bit of our oil. You don't need a lot so that it's not just that rubber to metal contact, you know? We don't want that. We're seating these in first so we can get an idea of which length brackets we need to use to mount our rail because Radium gives us 2, depending on the length of our injectors. I'm 99% sure we need the longer ones because these injectors are pretty long, but we're gonna double check it. We're gonna seat all of our injectors first. It's gonna be gnarly. Let's run through all of them real quick, you know? Let's jump right into the seats. Let's get all the seats into the intake. We can pretty much measure our brackets, I guess, from there. We can measure them now, but might as well put the seats in, get it out the way. So. We have our factory spacers. Make sure you keep these if you take your fuel system apart. If you're gonna do your rail and injectors and everything, it's very easy to just toss the whole thing in the garbage and wait for your new parts to arrive and start assembling. Make sure you keep these. They're usually stuck to your plenum. I sent mine out to get walnut blasted, but I made sure to keep these on the side because you're probably gonna need them, and we need them in this case. So these go right back into the factory hole where the injectors are gonna sit with the brackets and the hardware. These are gonna sit into our seats that we did. And we are gonna be using the longer of the 2 brackets. It's right here, that Radium supplies us with. And this is gonna sit nice and flush. We're gonna take it back off and mount it. And then once you slide all the injectors into their seats, this will slide into the spacer and we'll be able to hold it down. For now, let's take it back off because we have to go attach all of our brackets into the rail itself. Is this, I think this pulls out this way. Yep. I lubed it so good, I can't get it off. It's too slippery. There we go. Now I gotta lube it again. Fuck. So I had to make a phone call because something wasn't adding up. We put everything together. We were ready to show you guys. We're like, yeah, finished product. Right? No, not even close. Basically, when you buy your injectors from Drift Motion, they preemptively give you a spacer on the injector that you may or may not need depending on the rail that you get. For the radium rail, you don't need it. If you get the drift motion rail, you need it. So with that said, we put all these injectors in with these spacers and nothing lines up. So now we have to go back in, take out all the spacers, re-lube the new O-rings, put the injectors back in, measure our brackets again because they're probably not gonna fit. We probably need the shorter ones at this point, so we might have to take those back out. Everything we explained to you was a lie, and I'm sorry, but we have to redo it all. The process is the same, we're just taking out these spacers and remeasuring. But the process to do everything, I promise you, is the same. So here's the spacers, if you wanted to see what they look like. It's exactly what it is, it's a spacer. The seal goes into the spacer, and then this seal goes into the rail, but we just don't need those. So, lube it up, put it in. Let me redo all this, and we'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. There we go. That's how we should be looking. That's it. 3 bolts. Just done. Been taking care of some gremlins that we had to deal with. That's all out of the way. And in the meantime, while Louis was kind of focusing on some things on that side, I've been on this side just trying to route fuel lines and see how everything's gonna work. Fuel pressure regulator, ready to go. All the fittings are tight. Everything's set up the way it's gonna run. I did fit one of the lines off the rail already, which we can see here. I have it running down, kind of tucked away, nice out of the way. It comes underneath, and essentially it's gonna run to right over here, where our fuel pressure regulator is going to mount to. Oh, and we made a bracket. So I'm gonna put this on now because I was gonna put it down, but I might as well just put it on the car to hold our fuel pressure regulator to the intake. So we will adjust it to the direction we want it. For now, I can hold on there. Somewhere around there. This is normally where we put our tow truck maintenance. We're gonna use it for other purposes today, right? Dario, what do we have in our fuel system? We have, I guess we have a fuel tank, right? Yes. And we have a pump that's in the tank. Man, it's our pump. All right, so we have a feed line, and we have a return line. Whichever one is what. That's sloppy. All right, feed, return, and a feed. Now we have our rail. We have our injectors, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have our fittings that come off. And this is pretty much where we are. Here's our 1J. 1J. See. Off of this, we have the line that I just showed you guys. And that comes this way. And that's gonna go to our fuel pressure regulator. Bam. That's a FPR. That's what that is. Now, off the FPR, we have our nipple that comes down here, and that's gonna come back to our return line that goes to the tank. There's like a junction there where they're gonna meet. So now we have our feed line and the other half of our rail. In between here though, we need a filter. Bam, filter. From the feed line, we have to go to the filter, and then from the filter, we have to go to the back of the rail. So this is a simplified way of showing how the fuel system should work. This is what you need. You need a filter from the feed line, filter into the rail, back out of the rail, it goes to your fuel pressure regulator. Well, it regulates your fuel pressure. It's pretty much what that does. There's usually a gauge on here somewhere. Ours is actually gonna be right in front of it. So you have your gauge on it, regulator somewhere, and then off the regulator, it's gonna get returned back. So that is our lesson in what the fuel system should look like. Now we can jump back to the car and complete some of that system out. But if you need it, that's like a simplified diagram of what we're doing today. All right. So gauge usually goes in this port on the fuel pressure regulator. Since ours is kind of facing sideways in a weird position, we want to be able to see it, monitor it. The tuner wants to be able to see it easier. We have a AN fitting from Vibrant that has an NPT port in it And we're gonna use a cap in here, which we have in here. I just gotta double check that that's tight. I did the other 3. So our gauge can face up. We can see it nicely. The tuner can see it nicely. And it should make everything else nice and easy going. Did you even get this coming off the stand?
Yeah, I was getting shots.
Oh, that's good. Well, we're back. Last time we were here, we said we were gonna do the fuel system in this video, which we did do. And we also said we might get to something else. That something else is finally marrying my 1J to my JZX again. It's been way too long. Drift season is started already. We are behind, but we're gonna get there. So, of course, before we do that, we have to do our flywheel, new clutch disc, and pressure plate. Couple videos ago, 4, 5, 6 videos ago, we took this apart and we got to see how many drift events we got out of our clutch plate, and well, it wasn't many. Clutch plate was fried, flywheel was fried. This is still nice and burnt up, but I was not getting another pressure plate to need to change it again in 5 events. So we're gonna rock this out and see how it does. You can't feel any of the burn marks. It's not warped or anything. So we'll see how it goes. But to start today, we have to reassemble all of this so we can put that in there. And I'm gonna do the trans at a later time because I really don't want to scratch the bay trying to put the trans and motor in together. You're scared too? All right, if Lou's scared, then I'm beyond scared, so never mind. Let's make all this stuff together really quick. Get at least the motor back in today. Trans I can worry about off camera. It's not really that interesting. There's a million videos about how to put an R154 in a car, so we're probably not gonna document that part of it. I'd rather just put my head down, lock in, get it done, be done with it, and then we can get back to fun stuff. For now, let's get our flywheel back to the back of the motor. Our rear main seal is new. I didn't put a new one again, just did it. So last time I did a clutch, I did a rear main. If you haven't done your rear main and you're doing your clutch on your car, do it, especially if it's like a Japanese car that you imported and you have no idea when the last time it was done. Just do it. You're there. It makes sense. You probably won't be taking your trans off as many times as we do, so if you're gonna do it the one time, just get it done. Flywheel's going back on. We have our ARP bolts, 8 of those. Remember, if it spins, Loctite it. So we did some research on our torque specs, and we decided that ARP should be at 75. I bought these bolts 3 clutch jobs ago, and I really don't remember what I torqued them at. So factory looks like 35, quarter turn after 35 foot-pounds. These are not factory, ARP. Drift Motion, sell some, they recommend 75 for theirs. What we can find online for ARP looks like they're recommending 80. So we're gonna go 75 with the blue Loctite. I don't think they're gonna have time to back out by the time I have to do another clutch job. So really, I'm not too concerned. Where the fuck is the threads at? Oh, in that hole? That I can't see, that's the problem. Backyard built. Fucking bitch. This poor abandoned car. We gotta get to this thing. Cause it's looking rough. Hey Louie, you ever seen lightning in a warehouse before? No, what do you mean? Ka-chow! So we're in a new location today. Welcome to 5 Star Auto. Here in Clifton. Kind of work on anything here, but I was just not doing that transmission on the ground. Wasn't happening. And I wasn't putting it in with the motor and scratch the bay. Took the car here on the weekend after we filmed last Friday to put the transmission back in and drive shaft and pretty much everything underneath the car that I just didn't feel like laying on my back and doing. Not saying you can't do it that way, you definitely can, don't be discouraged, but there's a lift here, I'm gonna use the lift, you know? But then I kind of got carried away, so we have a lot of updating to do, right? First day we filmed for this video, we did the fuel system, and we left out doing the fuel filter. So that was a last big piece of the puzzle. You saw the diagram we did, which for me was 3 weeks ago. In this video, it's gonna be 7 minutes ago. With that diagram, we had the fuel filter. I kind of knocked that out in the off time because it's more of just a quick, tedious process. It's not something that's super interesting to film. It's the filter, you buy it, install it, and connect lines. It's nothing crazy, but it is done. I don't know if you'll be able to sneak the camera in here and actually be able to see it. I'm proud of the fuel system in this car. I think it came out, it's simple, it's not overdone, it's the power numbers we want to make, it's plenty, and I'm happy with the way it came out. Fuel system's done. We did like coolant lines and went through the vacuum system and saw like what ports we needed and where to run the vacuum lines. All the tedious BS that is just not camera worthy. But it's all done. So, capped up all the vacuum lines we're not using, opened up the ports and kind of made better vacuum ports for the ones we are using, like right angles, 45s, stuff to just make everything clean. That's all done. Little bracket for the throttle cable. Kind of made that while I was here because there was just one laying around and the factory location no longer exists because it was where all the old turbo stuff was. So made one of those. We solved some gremlins too. The oil filter was an issue. I don't know if we captured that on camera last time, but we had a 2J filter. Toyota, nice OEM piece, right? So excited, it looked good, it was black, it went with the flow of the motor, it was blending in. Come to find out that this AC line here takes a crazy 90-degree turn backwards and goes right in front of the filter. The filter was too long to allow me to keep my AC line, and I've said it probably 8 times on this channel, I'm keeping AC. I like AC, I like being on grid and going like this at my vents and watching everyone else go like this as they're in their helmet sweating. It's great. I took a pry bar and I did move this line very gently forward just to gain some space. And I'm using a Subaru filter. It's compact, it fits great, same threads, and it solved my issue very quickly. Come over to this side of the bay. Downpipe is new. Not new, but it's on. So we did the downpipe. That is officially mounted. Again, just all little gremlins that you don't really want to deal with, but we have to. We started doing the vacuum for the boost system. Of course, I like things nice, neat, and organized and tucked away, so we got some nice vibrant clamps in here to separate the lines, and I am waiting on forgot the name of the company, so forgive me. Once it's mounted, I guess I'll look it up. I ordered a little bracket that is made to hold these boost solenoids. It fits in it really nice. It kind of gives it like a little hug, and then has like a 10 mil slot on top to bolt it. And then these will be going this way to the wastegate, our one off the front of the turbo. There are a million diagrams you can look up on how to run your boost lines. A whole bunch of different configurations, so find out the one that's best for you. We did our research and I kind of screenshotted a diagram and followed that when I did it, but nonetheless, it is done. I'm just waiting on the bracket so I can mount this officially. And then a lot of just going around double checking stuff, making sure ports are closed that we're not using, making sure I put little zip ties in all the vacuum lines so nothing pulls out. Just do it now because, you know, you're gonna forget to do it if you're like, oh, I'll get back to that. And then you're at a drift event and you keep blowing vacuum lines out of your boost system and you're wondering why. It's just, once it's there, get it done so you don't forget in the future. Everything to do with the motor, other than radiator lines and big AN lines and stuff like that, everything is plumbed and ready to go. That's kind of where we're at. Oh, you waiting for me? Today was just a recap of the last 2 days. I did a lot of this stuff off camera because it's just tedious, like I said before. That's gonna close us out for today because we do have more to do. It's not the biggest holdup ever. We have all the fun big pieces to go back in now. We have our radiator, our fans, our intercooler, power steering cooler, oil cooler. All the coolers gotta go in the front. All these lines gotta get connected and ran. We're gonna do our catch can line. So I think next video is gonna be a big day of cooling systems. We're gonna have our condenser, so like all that stuff. Speaking of the JZX90 and coming along, I think our next video, we're gonna kind of stray away from this car a little bit. It's been straight, literally since we started the channel, it's been straight JZX90. And I think it's time me and Louis switch it up a little bit for you guys. So next video that you guys see after this one is probably gonna be really fun. I can't give it away. All right, we're going to the track. And we have a new face that you're gonna see on the channel for the first time. And we have a new car that you're gonna see on the channel for kind of the first time. But nonetheless, next video is gonna be really fun. The weather's breaking finally here in New Jersey. Drift season is here. And this is what I have of a car right now. So we're gonna go change it up and work with a different car and just have a blast for the next video. So make sure you stay in tune for the next one. I promise you it won't disappoint. In the meantime, thank you all for watching the video on the JZX90 update. Again, appreciate you guys all for coming along on the journey with me. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you on our very fun next video.